Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Jon Harris. I teach drums here at ICMP London, and today I want to do the second video of 3 videos continuing with the introduction to the drum kit. So I touched on this in the first video, but I want to talk to you about the importance of warming up. Now, I told you about my routine that I do before gigs in the first video, and just like any physical activity, whether you're working out, cycling, playing sport, or whatever your physical activity is, it's really important to warm up the muscles. And any instrument is quite a physical activity, and especially the drum kit. We've got 4 limbs, and we've got quite a few different voices that we need to work around the drum kit at slow or fast speeds. Now, because of that, we really need to make sure that we're sat up straight, we're not over exerting ourselves or stretching unnaturally. And also, I find it really important before I practice or gigging or whatever it is involving the drums, I find it's really important to warm up the muscles. Also, the benefits of warming up is 1, you obviously warm up the muscles, but 2, you can really engage your mind. Half of the battle with playing the drums is obviously thinking about the patterns you're playing, and especially as you get more complicated, you really need to kind of think about what's going on and then kind of get your muscles to do what your brain's telling it to do. So I want to talk about this a little bit in a minute, and I'm going to give you a warm-up routine that we can actually do together. So what you'll need is your sticks, your practice pad, and your metronome. If you haven't got a practice pad and you've got a full kit, you can do it on the snare drum as well, but it's going to be using the 3 rudiments that I spoke about in the first video: singles, doubles, and paradiddles. Cool. I want to talk to you about the importance of practice. Now, I think a general misconception when you get behind an instrument is that most people get behind the instrument and then just play what they already know. And that's totally fine. But if you're sat behind an instrument to get better and to progress, you really need to know the importance of proper practice. So what I mean by that is when I sit behind the drum kit, I have certain goals that I want to achieve. And I'm not sure about you guys, but my attention span is not the best. And I feel that about an hour is as much as I can really focus and concentrate. So what I do is I actually break my hour or my practice routine into 6 parts. So with those 6 parts, 6 10-minute slots, I assign a different exercise. So for example, I'll just make some sort of random ones up now. The first 10 minutes, you might do a warm-up routine. So singles, doubles, and paradiddles, just to kind of get yourself warmed up and engaged for that practice session. Section 2, for the 10 minutes, I might do some groove ideas. So I might sort of learn a groove from a song or a groove that you've been wanting to tackle for a little while. The third, I might do some sight reading, so that could be on the snare drum or some big band charts or even just some cover songs that you've got some charts to. Number 4, I might do some more advanced rudiments, so maybe some flams or some different orchestrations around the kit. Number 5, I might do some more complex groove ideas, so maybe some 4-way coordination, or you could even tackle some different styles using grooves, so maybe some bossa nova or some blues or some rock. And then the 6th section, I usually just play and have quite an enjoyable sort of 10 minutes and just let off some steam, and that is your hour. And I feel like by doing an hour, I'm super focused and I can get what I need to do, and I'm practicing things that I don't know how to do. And that is the whole point of practice. Right, I spoke about this earlier. What I want to do now is actually do a warm-up routine that all of you guys can do at home. So all you'll need is sticks, a practice pad, and a metronome. And I'm actually going to give you the tempo here to set your metronome to. And we're going to use the 3 rudiments that I gave you in video 1. So singles, doubles, and paradiddles. So let's just recap on those rudiments. So singles are right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Doubles, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Paradiddles, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Okay, so they're the 3 rudiments. What I'm going to do now is I want you to set your metronome to 80 beats per minute. So just go onto your metronome, make sure it's in 4/4 time signature, so 4 crotchets or 4 quarter notes in a bar, and set it to 80 BPM. So I've got my metronome set. I'm just going to turn it on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should be around there. So make sure you've got a metronome set, and we'll get on with the exercise. Cool, and what we're going to do, just to start with, is on those beeps, we're actually just going to hit the singles rudiments. So if we've got beep, 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 we're just going to go right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And remember from the first video, all the sticking should be the same height, and you're hitting directly on those beeps. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's singles. And just with that exercise, just keep going. Just you can go for a couple of minutes, just really warm up those hands, really check your stick heights and make sure you're really hitting on those beeps. Another thing you can do as well is, I know it sounds a little bit vain, but you can actually practice in front of a mirror. And that way you can really check that your stick heights are the same height, your posture's good, and you're playing the rudiments correctly. Cool, let's look at doubles. So we're going to do the same thing as we did with the singles, but with double strokes. So 80 BPM. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so again, nice even stick heights, and just make sure you're hitting directly on the metronome. Cool. The final one, paradiddles. So 80 BPM again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left. And again. Nice. Right, when you've got used to those, like I said before, practice them for a couple of minutes. Just make sure that you're comfortable with the stickings, make sure you're not making any mistakes, and make sure all your sticks are the even height. Cool. Once you've done those, do them for a couple of minutes, just get them kind of ingrained in your muscle memory and just really kind of relax with it. What we're going to start doing now is putting these rudiments together. So we're going to do them back to back. We're going to do singles, doubles, and then paradiddles. Okay, and we're going to do 2 bars of each rudiment. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So for singles, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Paradiddles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to do that back to back, just like I did there. Let's get the metronome on, 80 BPM. Singles, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And paradiddles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've got a really nice little warm-up routine there. What we're going to try and do now, if that's kind of too easy for you, or if you've been practicing that for a little while and now you want to sort of advance to the next level, rather than playing in crotchets, now we're going to play in quavers. So remember from the first video I talked about crotchets being 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to double up that subdivision, and we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So on your metronome, you're actually going to be playing on those beeps and the gap in between the beats as well. So the best way to do it is if you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then just double it up. 1 and 2 and 3 and so you're still getting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so we've got crotchets and quavers, or eighth notes and quarter notes. So what you can also do on your metronome, the majority of them will have this setting, you can actually set it to quavers. So if you look on the metronome itself, it will have either quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes. You can actually set it to 80 BPM in quavers, and it will beep on those quavers. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? Right, let's get into it. So 80, 1, 2, 3 singles. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. So as you can see, with singles, your right hand is actually playing all of the beats. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, and your left hand is playing all of the ands. So you've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So just kind of be aware of that when you're playing, because it will give you kind of little clues where to play with that metronome. Cool, let's look at double strokes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. So as you can see, when you speed these rudiments up, they can become a little bit more exciting and a little bit more advanced. And in video 3, I'll actually explain how you can orchestrate some of these rudiments around the kit and come up with some really, really interesting orchestrations and fill ideas. Right, let's look at paradiddles. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Okay. So again, paradiddles starting to sound really cool now. 80 BPM, and that's in quavers. Then what you can do, if you want, is do them back to back. So let's do 1 bar of each. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 in singles, 1, 2, 3, 4 in doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4 in paradiddles, like this. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. So we end up having 3 bars there, 1 bar of each. And what you can do, I'm just kind of simplifying this for the purposes of the video, but what you can do is just keep going with this. And it's good because you're obviously practicing your rudiments, but you're also getting your mind engaged and moving through the rudiments. And then what we can do in video 3 is start moving these around the kit and joining some of these rudiments together with the orchestrations. So in video 1, we touched on Love Philosophy by Jamiroquai, an amazing disco song. Now, we looked at a couple of the grooves, and what I want to give you today is basically a way where you can learn songs quickly. Now, when you first listen to a song, or if I first listen to a song, the first thing I usually do is notate the structure of the song. So it's like a map of where the song is going, and you're going from start to end. So the map is all the detail that happens in the middle of the song. So if you look through Love Philosophy, structure-wise, it's quite a simple pop song. So we've got that nice intro section, then we go into the verse, chorus, verse, chorus, middle section, chorus, and out. And the best way to transcribe or make a map for this song is just to count through the bars. So if the tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So that's the tempo. All you've got to do is count to 4, and that's one bar. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, that's one bar. So in each section, you can count up the number of bars in that section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And it's a good way to be able to kind of make a map of the song. So another thing to be aware of is in the majority of pop and rock songs, they're usually in increments of either 4 or 8. So for example, a verse might be 2 lots of 8 bars, which makes 16, and then the chorus might be 16 bars. So you'll start to see certain patterns within a song. So for example, in Jamiroquai, the chorus is basically the same length every single time you hear the chorus. So when you're playing the song, you can almost feel your way through the song and remember then when the verse is going to come back in. So count your way through the bars and then look for patterns in the structure. The second thing I would then do, once I've got the structure and I know how we're going to move and navigate through the track, then I start to break down the drum grooves. Now, we looked at the drum groove in the verse, or 2 variations of the drum groove that you can use in the verse. So I start breaking down the patterns. And the pattern that I gave to you in video 1, I usually just kind of start off with the kick and snare drum. So see what those voices of the kit are doing. So we had that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the kind of like the bulk of the groove. And then I start looking into what the hi-hat's doing. Then I look into the different sort of section grooves. So in the chorus, the groove changes slightly. And then I'll start putting, for the final touch, the different fills. And if there's any pushes or any of the extra little bits that you can kind of add to the song. And I think the sort of moral of the story here is just to use your ears as much as possible. It's really amazing if you can read music, but I think it's a really good tool to be able to have and to use if you can listen to music. So take your time, listen to each section individually, listen to where the drums sit within the ensemble, and then break down each of the voices and different orchestrations and fills, and just take your time and use your ears as much as possible. So, for example, with the Jamiroquai song, you'll notice that the drummer, the bass player, and the guitarist are super locked in. If you've ever seen Jamiroquai live, the rhythm section are absolutely incredible. They're one of the top rhythm sections, I'd say, probably in the world. And it's important to kind of look at where the drums sit within that ensemble. So the drums are the foundation, I would say. So that's what kind of holds up the musical house. Then the bass has that really funky disco groove that kind of sits on top. And then we've got that strumming guitar that adds that really nice rhythmic quality to the ensemble. So you can see how the 3 different instruments sit well together as a rhythm section. Also, once you've got all of the grooves down and the structure and you're playing the song well, you can then sort of add some flair and some different fill ideas to make it a little bit more interesting. And a fill is a pattern that you usually play around the drum kit that marks a change in structure. It's not always the case. Sometimes there are fills, without a structural change, but there's usually a fill before a change in structure. So for example, if you're going from the verse to the chorus, there's usually a fill. So in Love Foolosophy, got the verse. 1, 2, 3. And then back into the verse. So there's a nice kind of fill. You can always put it around the kit as well, but the fill is really there to mark that structural change. So let's look more into Love Philosophy. So we've got the verse grooves now. We've got the slightly more simple version. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've got the slightly more complex version. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's look into some fills that we can put into this song. So as I explained, fills are used to kind of signify a structural change. And what we want to do, because it's disco, we want to keep them nice and snappy. So anything on the snare is good. We can actually put it around the toms as well, but nice and kind of quick fills. So we can actually use some of the rudiments that we've looked at already. So if we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's our tempo. We can use some quavers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if we keep it simple to start with, if we've got that groove, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the quarter notes. What we can actually do is on the snare drum, we can just play quavers. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if we play that fill on that last bar before the chorus groove, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, and here comes the fill. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we've got single strokes in quavers, just like we've done in our warm-up routine, and we've got a nice little fill there to go into the chorus. What you can also do, rather than keeping it just on the snare, we could actually go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we've got that on the snare. We could actually put it around the kit. We could go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we've got snare, rack, and then the rest on the floor tom. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's just singles. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, or we could even put it around some of the other drums. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we're starting to orchestrate it around different voices on the kit. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I've just got 4 on the snare, 2 on the rack, 2 on the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then what is really nice after a fill, especially to mark that structural change, is to add a crash with a bass drum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, make sure a nice unison with the bass drum and the crash. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Just like that. So with the groove, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we've got some real nice texture to our groove now, and we've got a fill to mark that structural change. Cool. So what we can actually do now is start using different rudiments. As well as the single strokes, we could use double strokes. So instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we could use 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we've just got right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, with a crash afterwards. Okay, so we're starting to use those rudiments in a musical way now. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here comes the doubles. Okay, and don't feel as well with the crash cymbals, you always have to use this one here. You can use that one as well. They're both crash cymbals. They do exactly the same thing. It's just easier to sometimes use that one because it's on that side of the kit, and easier to use that one because it's on the left-hand side of the kit. So we can actually move some of those orchestrations around the kit. So we could do right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. So right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Snare, snare, floor, snare, snare, rack, floor. Which is nice. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here comes the fill. 2, 3, 4. So rather than just playing the rudiments on a practice pad now, we're starting to orchestrate them around the kit and come up with some really interesting phrases and rhythms. Cool, if we want to look at using paradiddles as a fill, we can orchestrate them as well. Let's just do it on the snare to start with. If we do it in quavers, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So just on the snare, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. And what we can actually do is we can put the first right on the floor tom and then the first left of that mirror image on the rack tom. So we've got right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. So your right's down there and your left goes up to the rack tom. Everything else remains on the snare drum. And this is when you can start to see the difference when using different rudiments, when you start using orchestrations. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. So everything is on the snare, apart from that floor tom for the first one, and then the rack tom for the first left of that mirror image. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. So in context, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so again, something really, really interesting. And that's just one orchestration. Get creative with this. Put it around the crashes, the ride cymbal, wherever you want to put it. This is the beauty of using these rudiments. You can kind of get creative as much as you want around the kit. So don't just stop there. See what feels natural. Some of them will sound great. Some of them maybe not so much. But experiment and see what works for you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in video 3. Please practice all this material, enjoy the process, get it as creative as possible. If you need any additional help, please don't hesitate to contact the ICMP admissions team. Check out the ICMP blog. Good luck, and I'll see you in video 3. Cheers.